So welcome, Father Toots, to this segment, to this the habits. It's really a blessing, a pleasure to have you in this segment.
Thank you, Sister Happy. I am honored.
It's nice to start
And I am
this year.
pleased. Yeah.
Maraming
Happy
salamat,
New Year
Father.
po.
Yes,
Happy New Year.
oo nga po pala. Actually, I remember last week when we had the throwback. Ewan ko kung napanood niyo yun, Father. I hope so. Pero we had that throwback na we invited our former guest co-hosts and we also asked them questions. Tapos nakilaro na rin sila sa amin. Yung mga laro na binigay natin sa ating mga viewers, sila na rin ang naglaro at that time. Kaya nakakatuwa po yun, Father. It was really a throwback.
Yun siguro ang tinatawag na the joy of consecrated life.
Exactly.
Kasi pag hindi ka masaya, naku sister, saan tayo pupunta pag ganun? Protocol po kasi, Father, kailangan magpa-swab. Okay. I went to a private hospital and so I paid a lot. So nagpa-swab. Okay pa. Okay yung breathing ko ha. Talagang humihinga ako. Hindi yung nagpapanood natin sa TV na walang ganyanan, no? But the swab, after 45 minutes, and then the nurse came in the ER, and Father, you are positive. With what? With COVID.
Ganun lang pagkasabi, Father.
So,
parang very casual, Father.
So I insist, hindi UTI ito or dengue or ano pa ba yun? Sepsis. Hindi po, positive. Okay.
Were you scared?
Oh yes. Nung sinabi na positive ka, ay, totoo na pala ito, hindi pala ito katang isip lang.
Let us thank Father Toots Benafe Ocar for being our guest host and share it today. Next week, join us again as we explore consecrated life, the church, the world, and the society. This has been your kahabit, Sister Happy Montecillo of the Daughters of St. Anne.
Thank you very much for joining us on our weekly religious routine. This is your kahabit, Father Toots Benafe of the Order of Carmelites, signing off from your weekly inspiration and information companion. We have been
The Habits.
Mabuhay Pilipinas and hello to the rest of the world. Welcome to your new companions in looking at the church, the world, and the society from the religious point of view. This is your kahabit, Father Felmar Fiel of the Society of the Divine Word.
Join us for your weekly dose of inspiration and information, straight from the consecrated men and women of the Philippines. I am your kahabit, Brother Reden Liken of the Order of St. Augustine, Province of Santo Nino de Cebu, Philippines.
And we are
The Habits! Naku, exciting ang ating magiging episode today. Pero bago tayo dumako dyan, tanungin muna natin ang ating mga kahabits. What do you want to learn and discover in our episode today? I-share nyo na yan sa aming Facebook page. Go to the facebook.com/amrsp.org. At habang nandun na rin kayo, huwag niyong kalimutang i-like and follow our page. Dahil we are on the road to 10,000 followers.
Also, there is a new way on how you can support us through our Facebook live streams. How? By sending us some stars. You can buy stars and send them to us during our live broadcast. You can also send animated, virtual gifts attached to different stars that will appear in our live stream.
For every star we receive, we earn $0.01 mga kahabits. You can click the star icon next to the chat bar to try sending stars yourselves. O diba? High-tech na ang pagsuporta. But take note, it is only available sa AMRSP Facebook page.
At mga kahabits, suportahan nyo rin kami sa YouTube. Just visit our YouTube channel, AMRSP Media. Watch, like, and share our videos. And don't forget to subscribe.
Bukod sa ating social media kahabit, mapapanood din tayo sa TV Maria every Sunday nights at 8:30 p.m. with replays every Thursdays at 6 a.m. and 10 p.m.
Wag na nating patagalin pa. Excited na akong mag-pit, Senor. Kahabit, Reden, saan ba tayo ngayon?
Well, nandito na naman tayo kahabit, Father Philmar, na kung saan ay tinagurang the Queen City of the South. Welcome to Cebu City.
This is
The Habits on the Spot, presenting
the Basilica Minore del Santo Nino de Cebu.
Bago tayo tumungo sa tahanan ng Senor Santo Nino, maganda sigurong makilala muna natin ang isang kongregasyon na nangangalaga at nangangasiwa sa dambana ng Santo Nino, pati na rin ang pagpapalaganap ng debosyon dito, hindi lang sa Cebu, kundi maging sa iba pang panig ng Pilipinas at ng mundo. At upang ipakilala sa inyo mga kahabits, ay narito kasama natin si Reverend Father Rick Anthony Reyes OSA mula sa Order of St. Augustine, o mas kilala bilang mga Agustinians. Hello po, welcome to The Habits.
Hello po, Father Felmar and Brother Reden at sa lahat pong nanonood sa atin ngayon sa Kahabits.
Father Rick, thank you for allowing us to visit and feature the Agustinians here in Cebu. We believe that this tour to the Basilica Minore del Santo Nino de Cebu will not be complete without getting to know the Agustinians. I remember from my teacher in Civica and Cultura before, sabi niya, ang mga paring Agustino ang pinakaunang misyonaring dumating sa Pilipinas. Right, Father?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about the Agustinians.
Well, Father Felmar, Brother Leken, ang Agustinians are coming from a 13th century foundation. It's an Italian foundation kasi galing ito sa mga hermits in the 1244 and 1256 foundation ng order. Galing sila sa spiritual root ni Saint Augustine. Saint Augustine is a 4th century saint. He was born in Tagaste in Northern Africa at present. And from there, Saint Augustine, as you have known sa history ng simbahan, si Saint Augustine coming from a very rich tradition of the eremitical life, and from there it grows into a big movement, and because of the Vandal invasion, ang mga monks, ang mga hermits went to the northern area, we're in Italy. And eventually by 12th century or 13th century, that is 1256, 1244 and 1256, they were founded by the church. And from there, it grows into a big order, and from there, they spread from Italy going to the different European countries, especially in France, of course in Spain, in Hungary, Germany, in Switzerland, and some other neighboring European countries. And from there, galing sa center sa Italy going to Spain, doon naman nanggaling yung mga misyonero na mga Agustinians na pumunta ng Pilipinas. And the first time that the Augustinians arrived here in the Philippines was in 1565, when it was the time of Miguel Lopez de Legazpi to come back here to the Philippines from the first time that it was discovered in 1521, or maybe rediscovered by Magellan. Alam naman natin na in 1521 dumating dito sila Magellan, and then eventually there was a very big, or I mean a very long time na parang hindi bumalik dito, may mga attempts. But eventually, by 1565, Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, with the first 5 Augustinian missionaries, arrived here in our country. Eventually, from that time on, they were the first ones to establish and systematically catechize, evangelize the natives. And from there, here in Cebu, they spread out around the country, especially in Panay, in Luzon, in Ilocos, most especially. And then, they also went as far as Leyte, Samar, and some parts of Mindanao. But eventually, when some other missionaries came here in the country, they systematically also divided the country. And the Augustinians focused more on Of course, at that point of time, father and brother, ang ginawa talaga nila is evangelization, so parishes. So meron silang parokya, and they established towns. Yung napakagandang ginawa ng mga Agustino sa Pilipinas is that they were the first ones, and maybe siguro pinakamaraming na found na parishes and towns, mga over 300 plus.
Wow.
Oh. Imagine here in Cebu, in Panay, in Ilocos, parts of Central Luzon, and some parts of southern area of Southern Katagalugan, including Batangas, no? Ito po yung mga area ng missionary activities ng mga Augustinians. So, from 1565 until eventually by 1898, ang mga Augustinians were very active. And not only in the parishes that they were very active in their missionary activity. They also assisted and helped in the propagation and preservation of our language, of our different dialects and languages. So kasi ang mga Agustino kasi sa Pilipinas ay na-focus dito sa Cebu, sa Panay, and Manila area, including the central and the southern Katagalugan and Ilocos region. Yun yung mga languages na they help to preserve, to, shall we say, they record it, no? And then they developed it, no? They helped by studying. So isa kasi sa mga magandang ginawa din nila is that they learn the language as much as other missionaries did during their time. So because of that, no, they preach in our languages, and because of that, it helped also us to preserve, makakapagsalita pa tayo ng ating mga dialects at saka ng ating languages. Secondly, the Augustinians also were very active, especially at the very beginning of the missionary activities in 1500s or in 1565 down to sometime in 1600s, when during that time na ini-establish ng mga Espanyol ang kanilang colony dito, the Augustinians were very active in defending the rights of the natives. Of course, I can recall the name of Fray Martin de Rada, one of the Augustinians who were also assigned here in the Basilica, or in San Agustin, because it's San Agustin, and the convent is called the convent of Santo Nino. So Fray Martin de Rada was one of these Augustinians who helped defending the rights of the indigenous people, of the natives. And one also of the great contributions of the Augustinians is not only the preservation of the language, but also helping the people in their parishes, in their parish communities noon, na magtanim. So agricultural. Pero ang napakaganda dito is that ang agricultural na yung pagtulong nila help the people to alleviate their state of life, no? So parang hindi totoo yung sinasabi nila na they enslaved, no? Kasi yung bias kasi nila noon sa mga friars is that they make the people parang slaves, no? Pinapatrabaho sa hacienda.
Mga Indio.
Oh, yun yung inaano natin, no? Pero alam nyo, it's not true because most of the friars are the ones who are teaching. They're like teachers to the natives and helping them in the most practical sides of their life, gaya ng agricultural and industrial, at saka napakarami pa, even in the mechanical, and later in building churches. Yun din yung isa sa mga magandang naitulong ng mga Agustino sa pagtuturo nitong mga basic skills in living.
How about pastoral schools pa?
Well, the Augustinians at the time were not that too focused in schools, though ang isa sa mga magandang nagawa ng mga Agustinians is that sa kumbento merong school, but they are not keen on founding universities. Late na kasi ang other missionary orders, yun yung mga active, like the Dominicans, no? They were the ones who founded really schools, big schools. But the Augustinians, they incorporated the educational apostolate or ministry to the natives in the context of their parishes. So merong mga parochial schools at that time. So yung mga kombento nila is were at the same time parang mga eskwelahan, and basic learning ang nalelearn ng mga, especially ng mga kabataan at that time. Well, of course, the 3 R's na sinasabi nila, actually 4 R's, di ba? Reading, writing, arithmetic, at saka, of course, religion. Yun. So, kasi catechesis, yung basic doktrina Kristiyana. And ang ibang ano din, because of this many contributions, marami ding mga literature na na-produce ang mga Agustinians. Of course, sa languages pa lang, marami na silang mga diksyonaryo, bokabularyo, o different literary tools that help the missionaries to learn the language, but at the same time also to let the natives learn and to develop the language. So yan din isa sa mga products ng mga Agustinians. Of course, the religion, yung mga novena, doon kasi nakaka-learn na magbasa yung mga natives at that time. And of course, isa din sa mga contribution nila is yung mga you call this mga scientific contribution. And kasi kanina sabi natin yung mga agricultural, mga industrial na contribution ng Augustinians. It paved or branched out into the scientific contribution kasi especially with the person of Fray Manuel Blanco, OSA. Siya po ang isa sa mga unang nag-document ng ating flora at fauna. No? Yung mga native na mga plants natin at saka mga flowers, which is also in the service of the natives and of course of the Spanish of the Spanish colony at that time, because these things help them to discover that in our plants, in our flora and fauna here in the Philippines, maaari palang gamitin ng mga gamot, ng panlunas, mga ganyan.
How about, Father, yung masasabi ko na isa siguro sa very rich contribution din ng mga Agustino is yung tinatawag natin na preservation of language and also the culture. Kasi pag titingnan din natin in comparison yung history din ng ibang mga bansa na colonize, nawala yung language nila.
Yeah.
But para sa atin, na-retain natin yung ating local languages.
Yeah, that's true, Father. As you have said, we have observed them. For example, Mexico, during that time that when they were colonized, yung parang na-impose sa kanila yung Spanish language. That's why they carried it over. At saka ang first language nila is Spanish. But tayo, we focus more on the dialects because the missionaries learned a big lesson. The first big lesson there is that if they will be the one to learn the language, they will easily teach the natives. Yun yung isa sa mga na-appreciate doon ng mga missionaries. Kasi if you will insist na ang natives ang magli-learn ng Spanish language, mahirapan magdo-double time sila. Magti-teach muna sila ng language and then they will teach the religion, or they will catechize them or evangelize them. Pero ang learning help them to process and to shorten the process of learning by going there. Sila mismo ang nag-learn ng language, but at the same time, they are also hitting another purpose, which is madali nilang ma-convey ang Christian faith sa mga tao, sa mga natives.
And also documentation of history, no? Dahil noong unang panahon wala pang nagsusulat.
Yeah.
Ang mga communities, mayroon silang sariling mga chroniclers na daily nagsusulat ng mga events o nangyayari sa community.
Yes, Father, that's true because sa history natin ngayon, of course, sometimes we cannot, hindi naman kasi natin ma-deny na history can sometimes be biased. That is why sometimes we have to read both sides of history. And what is being left out now in the process of our discovering of our history, hindi natin nabasa yung sinulat nila. At this point of time, maraming namang mga attempts to translate their works, and there we discover that madidiscover natin yung parang fuller picture ng history natin. Of course, in the Augustinian order in the Philippines, we cannot but mention first and foremost Fray Gaspar de San Agustin. During in 1600s, he recorded from the beginnings of the Augustinian presence here in the Philippines from 1565 until 1605. And then of course Fray Juan Medina, who was also assigned here in the Santo Nino convent, no? And then some others, of course, may mga later na po tayong mga personalities such as Fray Isacio Rodriguez, who after in 1965 he collected all the documents into some more or less 17 volumes of Augustinian history, no? Here in the Philippines. And then of course, we have some others na document dun sa Valladolid, nandun na sa archives ng Valladolid, at saka sa Mexico din, because we were also governed during that time in Mexico, from Mexico, or from Spain through Mexico.
Wow, it's so nice to hear such story from long time ago. Lalo na ngayon ay pinagdiriwang natin ang ika-500 years ng Kristyanismo sa Pilipinas. Father, since napakatagal na po pala ng inyong order dito sa bansa, marahil siguro ay napaka-historic at hitik sa kwento ang inyong community here in Cebu. Father, since nandito na rin kami, and I am sure our kahabits are also excited to virtually tour around, maaari niyo pa ba kaming ilibot sa ilan sa mga spots dito?
Sure, pwede po.
Yes! So Father, nasaan po tayo ngayon? Ako, I'm sure, first time ko kasing makaakyat dito sa lugar na to. So tell us, Father.
So we are here now in the belfry, the newly restored belfry of the Basilica del Santo Nino. As you have known, Brother Redden, itong place na to kung saan tayo ngayon, in 2013, it was toppled because of an earthquake that happened in
naalala ko yan po, Father.
October 15.
Yes.
So as you can see here, this is already a restored structure. This is a very historic belfry. It's because first and foremost, it's part of the original church, no? And of course, most of the areas of the church and of the convent dated from 1700s, specifically 1735 to 1740 construction. Kasi ang simbahan, ilang ulit na nasunog, ilang ulit na ibinatayo, ilang ulit na there were a lot of renovations and reconstructions, and eventually by 1735 to 1740, the whole church that we are now having with this tour is surviving. And from 1735 or 1740, the 5-year construction, ito po yung simbahan natin ngayon. So, well, unlike what happened to this belfry, the good news of this is that ipinatibay, it was constructed in a way na faithful siya sa original construction and the original material and of course the design. This I think this is a hexagonal shaped belfry. And at this point of time, 6 lang na bells ang makikita natin dito, Brother.
Hexagonal.
Yes, so kasi hexagonal, so 6
6.
And it's supposed to be, it should be 7. Kasi dito sa harap natin, supposed to be, there should be a very, very big bell. No? Ngayon, wala na siya dito kasi nga, for the reason of safety, of kahit bago ang ating structure ngayon dito, syempre we have to take into consideration the foundation. So ibinaba lang yung malaking bell, 6 na maliliit, o hindi naman siya masyadong maliit kasi tingnan mo naman sa likod natin, malaki talaga. No? So ang 6 na bell, which is fully functional after the earthquake, kahit na itong 6 na bell na to, it's either na they fell off because of the what happened when it was hit by an earthquake. Eventually, some of those bells were here, but eventually, nung it was salvaged from the rubbles, they were still completely unscathed. No?
So, Father, lahat po ba ito sabay-sabay na pinapatugtog?
Yes.
Wow!
So, nung mga important na mga events. Such as when the Santo Nino is going out from the church, no, during the procession of the Fiesta Senor, binibell talaga to lahat.
Okay.
And then of course, this bell was very important during the pandemic. Bakit? Kasi every time, from the time na nag-lockdown sa Cebu, every evening and every 12 o'clock, we tolled the bell for the prayer of the Oratio Imperata. So, naging historical because why? Kasi ako isa sa mga nagbe-bell.
Wow!
Kasi kami lang sa community.
Oo nga, kasi walang personnel. Tama,
so,
tama.
Ako at saka yung rektor ang nagbe-bell every night. So every 12 o'clock, somebody from our personnel sa guard, pero sa gabi kasi kami na lang, so we tolled the bell for almost 5 months, Brother Redden. So this is very historical for us, especially at this point of time that we are experiencing this pandemic, this COVID-19. So the bell symbolizes our prayers. So every time that we heard of it, we pray.
Wow! So thank you, Father.
Yes.
And then, for the many years from the time on, so mga almost 200 plus years na itong simbahan na to, from its construction. But this church foundation father is the oldest in the whole Philippines.
Wow.
Kasi ito yung pinakaunang simbahan na na-found ng mga misyonero. Kasi pagdating nila ng 1565, this church was dedicated to the Santo Nino. But of course, the patron, the original name of this church is San Agustin Church. This is the original San Agustin.
San Agustin,
Oh, yeah. So, but of course, because this is the home of the Santo Nino, it was also known as Santo Nino because the convent is the Santo Nino.
Usually, nung wala pang pandemic, Father, mga ilan kaya in one day ang nagpupunta dito?
Well, sa aming estimate lang, no, coming in and going in for 1 week, Father, for 1 week, pwedeng ma-reach ng 1 million.
Wow!
Imagine that.
Mind-blowing.
So, ang going in and going out ng tao dito sa Basilica, regular yun, Father, may 10,000 po.
Yan, and from all walks of life
Yes.
and from all over the world.
Noon, hindi lang taga Cebu, nung may mga local and mga foreign tourists, they are coming here, no?
Aunque tratemos de ignorarlo, la esclavitud no es algo de otro tiempo. Ante esta trágica realidad, no podemos lavarnos las manos si no queremos ser de alguna manera cómplices de estos crímenes contra la humanidad. No podemos ignorar que hoy hay esclavitud en el mundo, tanto o más quizás que antes. Recemos por la acogida generosa de las víctimas de la trata de personas y de la prostitución forzada y de la violencia.
nandito pa rin kayo sa The Habits on the Spot. Tuwing ikatlong linggo ng Enero ay pinagdiriwang natin ang kapistahan ng Santo Nino. At ngayon, napakaswerte natin dahil makikipiesta tayo mismo sa tahanan ng Batang Jesus. At kasama pa rin natin ngayon si Reverend Father Rick Anthony Reyes para sa History and the Devotion. Hello po, Father. Welcome to The Habits. Nasaan po ba tayo ngayon, Father Rick?
Well, as you can see, Brother Redden, we are on the very marble chapel of the Santo Nino de Cebu, and at our back is the most precious relic of Christianity here in the Philippines.
Wow.
This is the original image of Senor Santo Nino de Cebu, which was brought in 1521 by the Magellan expedition, given as a baptismal gift to Reina Juana. Eventually, after 44 years na umalis sila, then 44 years of shall we say, gap from the time of the Magellan until the Legazpi expedition in 1565, the same image that we can see here was found in a burnt house somewhere here in this compound of the Basilica, because this is the very spot where that burnt house was located. And one of Miguel Lopez de Legazpi's soldier named Juan Camus found this very image on that burnt house in April 28, 1565, which we call here as kaplag, or the finding of the image of Senor Santo Nino. So this image is, maybe, shall we say, it's all about a ruler's height. Yung image lang, yung imahe ng Senor Santo Nino, and it's standing around a 7-inch pianya, or the footrest. And you can see here also that the original image of the Santo Nino de Cebu is ang pinanggalingan po kasi sabi nila, well, there's a kind of an opinion among historians na ang imahen, dahil galing siya sa Spain, it was somewhat brought from Belgium, sa tinatawag nating Flanders, kasi merong mga paggawaan ng mga imahen doon ng Santo Nino, at saka the devotion at the time sa Spain and some other parts of Europe, doon na nag-develop. Kaya sa kanila, it's also very important for them to have a kind of an image such as the Santo Nino. And eventually it was given to Magellan, because at the time also, you have to understand that when they are doing the explorations and matagal-tagal silang maglalayag, and of course, as part of their expression of faith, kanya-kanya daw yan sila may mga dalang imahen.
Wow.
Kasi mga Katoliko eh. So Magellan has this, or had this image of the Santo Nino, which arrived on our shores on that year of 1521, the year that Christianity was brought into our country, especially here in Cebu.
Wow. So thank you, Father. So for me, Father, this is also nung nagpunta ako dito sa Cebu, siguro first natapa ko dito sa mismo original ng image, parang iba yung pakiramdam.
Yeah.
And kasi nga malayo ako from Cebu City. So dati pinapangarap ko nga lang makapunta dito, and naging part ako ng Agustinians. So nung first time na napunta ako dito during kaplag din yun, so I have the opportunity na makabisita dito.
Yes.
At siguro sa ating mga kahabits din na nanonood ngayon dito, na gustong pumunta rin dito. So dahil nga pandemic,
Yeah.
so dyan lang muna sila, stay put. And ang devotion naman natin ay kahit nandyan tayo sa bahay ay mananatili pa rin yan. Kahit wala tayo mismo dito sa Basilica Minore del Santo de Cebu. So maraming salamat, Father.
It's really very true that as you have said, na kahit andun na sila sa kanilang bahay, well, the opportunity today with the internet, no, the media center of the Basilica made it possible na continuous yung ating live masses, and even there's also a possibility na every time that we will have we will have the veneration of the image, it can also be seen live. So, gaya ngayon, nakikita natin dito yung imahe ni Senor Santo Nino.
Tama, Father.
So, yun yung napakagandang opportunity that we have as Agustinians to see this precious image of the relic of Christianity here in the Philippines.
nagsitayuan yung balahibo ko, Father. Napakaganda ng Basilica na ito, the home of the Senor Santo Nino. Tell us about the story of this Basilica.
Well, Father, this basilica was founded in 1565 upon the arrival of the Augustinian friars here in Cebu. The foundation is 1565 because right after they landed here, boarded here, and eventually the miraculous finding of the Santo Nino na nakita nila sa isang half-burnt house on April 28, 1565, somewhere here in this area of the church. Yeah. So then, after that, this place was marked off by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. Eventually, the image of the Santo Nino was entrusted to the Augustinians, and they Legazpi told them that they will be the ones to propagate and to keep the church and the Santo Nino for the veneration of the people. However, dahil sa, of course, they were at the time having the difficulty of coming here, so they built light material houses and of course the church. No, so this is not the church that was founded or that was constructed in 1565. It was just a humble nipa hut church and convent of the friars. And eventually, many tragedies and many, shall we say, meron din mga miscalculations at saka mga hindi magagandang desisyon na nangyari, kaya yung simbahan hindi magandang pagkakatayo, that eventually by 1735, the Augustinians constructed a very sturdy, a very strong church that we are in right now. So this 1735 structure, which is made up of coral stone and a kind of mamposteria, that is the kind of the masonry that was used to build the structure. So ang ginamit po dito are coral stones and then limestones. So that's why makakapal yung ano nito, yung walls nito. And from 1735 to 1740, the church was constructed, and eventually the convent followed as well. And then, for the many years from the time on, so mga almost 200 plus years na itong simbahan na to from its construction. But this church foundation father is the oldest in the whole Philippines.
Wow.
Kasi ito yung pinakaunang simbahan na na-found ng mga misyonero. Kasi pagdating nila ng 1565, this church was dedicated to the Santo Nino. But of course, the original name of this church is San Agustin Church. This is the original San Agustin.
San Agustin.
Oh, yeah. So, but of course, because this is the home of the Santo Nino, it was also known as Santo Nino because the convent is the Santo Nino. So the church is Church of St. Augustine or Iglesia de San Agustin, and the convento is the Convento del Santo Nino. Then, in 1965, or before that, the church undergone a major renovation. So maraming additions dito sa loob. May mga change, may mga paintings na nakita mo, Father. Pero of course, the original structure, our retablo is still the retablo coming from the 16th century, or 17th century. And then in 1965, it was remodeled for its eventual declaration as Basilica Minore by Saint Paul VI. So binigyan siya ng title as Basilica Minore in recognition as the mother and the fountainhead of all the churches in the Philippines. That's why we're using it, Mater et Caput Existit Omnium Ecclesiarum Philippinarum, because this is the foundational church, or the springboard of all the churches
Parang
here.
from Cebu to the rest of the Philippines and the world.
Yeah, so ito po yun, Father, ang history ng simbahan na to.
How about, Father, di ba, marami na rin pagkakataon na dinalaw tayo ng mga bagyo, ng mga earthquakes, and alam natin na yung last din na very strong earthquake, may nangyari din po dito.
Yes, as we have heard about this, the story sa noong 2013, yung belfry natin was one of the victims. Inside here,
Viral yun, viral.
Yeah, very viral kasi nakita yun, na-caught sa video yun eh. Pero dito sa simbahan, miraculously, hindi naman siya na wala namang mga major damages. Oo. And even the Santo Nino was in a good state. Hindi na walang nangyaring something bad. Meron lang mga areas ng ating retablo na na-damage, like yung may mga images, but shall we say generally it was in good condition. Hindi naapektuhan structurally ang simbahan, and we are happy for that.
And daily maraming mga devotees tayo, Father, na nagpupunta dito. Usually, nung wala pang pandemic, Father, mga ilan kaya in one day ang nagpupunta dito?
Well, sa aming estimate lang, no? Coming in and going in for 1 week, Father, for 1 week, pwedeng ma-reach ng 1 million.
Wow!
Imagine that.
Mind-blowing.
So, ang going in and going out ng tao dito sa Basilica, regular yun, Father, may 10,000 po.
Yan, and from all walks of life,
Yes.
and from all over the world.
Noon, hindi lang taga Cebu, nung may mga local and mga foreign tourists, they are coming here, no?
Yes, I would like to also share to you, Father, that my great-grandparents in 1919, they migrated from Cebu to Mindanao. And hanggang ngayon, yung mga nunuan ko pa, great-grandparents ko, dala din nila yung Santo Nino. Kaya yung pinaka-village namin, pangalan din Santo Nino. Kaya I'm very happy also that andito ako ngayon.
Wow, very nice, Father. It's really good that you got your connections back.
Yes, alam din natin, Father, na maraming mga pagbabago ngayon dahil sa pandemic. Pero could you also tell us about the activities of the Fiesta Senor before the pandemic?
Yes, Father. As you can compare, marami talagang pagbabago. Before, Father, we start the Fiesta Senor Novena, that is 10 days before. Kasi ang nangyayari po kasi sa atin, 9 days novena, and then the Vísperas is separate, and then the Fiesta. So, on the very first day, dun pa lang marami nang magjo-join sa atin kasi magwo-walk with Jesus po tayo coming from uptown going to the Basilica. So it is a procession, a penitential procession before the opening salvo, and then after that begins the series of almost an hourly mass until the evening. So magsa-start po ng early in the morning. Usually our novena masses from day 1 to day 9, they will begin sometime in 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah. And then 5:30, then 6 o'clock, and so on and so forth. And then the last mass will be at around 7 o'clock or 7:30. And then we will end with the traditional dancing of the sinulog. We will offer the sinulog, no? That's the religious, where we offer our prayers and petitions right after the mass. Then for day 1 to day 9, yun po nangyayari. Then along the way, of course, there are other celebrations, and there are other also activities. Like for example, pagdating ng day 9 po, Father, bibisita po dito sa atin yung patroness ng Cebu, Our Lady of Guadalupe, the Blessed Virgin Mary under such title, Our Lady of Guadalupe de Cebu. And from here, magtatraslasyon din yan, magwo-walk with Mary din po yan. Father, galing doon sa kanilang simbahan sa Guadalupe in the uptown, and then going here down sa Basilica. Then the mother and the child will meet here. There will be a translation mass, and then right after the translation mass, early in the morning, around 9 o'clock maybe, on the day 9, si Mama Mary at saka si the child Jesus, Senor Santo Nino, will visit the National Shrine of Saint Joseph, yung Papa naman, yung Mandaue. Doon na naman magbibisita yung dalawa. And then there will be venerations there, there will be masses there, and that is on the Friday, which is the 9th day of the novena. By the Vísperas time, they will go to Lapu-Lapu kasi para mabisita din po na yung area ng Cebu wherein marami ding mga devotos. And then the Santo Nino and Our Lady of Guadalupe will go to the National Shrine of Virgen de Regla, no? And then there will be activities or liturgical activities such as mass. And then from there, dun po magsa-start yung activity going now to the fluvial procession of the Vísperas. So sa Vísperas po ng morning, ang Mactan Channel po ay puno ng mga barko, ng mga pump boats, lancha. They will be joining the procession of the boat, or of the, we call it galyon. No? Galyon, kung saan yung imahe ay nakalagak, and then many people will be waiting for the Santo Nino to come from the area of Mandaue going down to the area of Mactan Channel, malapit po sa Pasil. It's the area of the old San Nicolas. Then eventually sa Pier 1 po, doon sila bababa, and from there will have a short procession coming here. There will be a mass, a reenactment mass of the first baptism, first wedding, the first mass, and the planting of the cross to commemorate the arrival of the Christianity here in our country with the Santo Nino. And eventually, right after that, there will be a lot of dancing ng mga dance offerings, and then in the afternoon we will have now the solemn foot procession all throughout Cebu City. So may mahabang prosesyon po yan galing dito sa Basilica at babalik din po sa Basilica. Then of course in the Fiesta Senor, on the very day of the fiesta, the Archbishop of Cebu will be celebrating the principal mass of the Fiesta Senor in the morning, early in the morning, and then it will be followed by the series of masses until in the evening. At saka every mass po meron pong mga pagsasayaw ng traditional sinulog to offer our prayers.
Okay. No, so gusto ko lang sabihin sa mga nanonood din sa atin, Father, na ilang oras po yung traditional religious sinulog on the day of the Visperas.
1 hour po yun.
Wow!
1 hour po yun. Ang mangyayari po niyan, Father, parang there will be series of prayers and then the dancing. Para it's really the experience of prayer. Hindi lang po yan dance na parang cultural lang, parang sayaw-sayaw lang, kundi it's really a dance prayer. Ito po yung experience natin na sinasayaw natin yung prayer natin sa harap ng Senor Santo Nino.
Okay. So, ang dami ko pang gustong itanong kay Father Rick, no? Pero alam din naman natin na marami na kaming nakuhang oras sa iyo, Father. So, maraming salamat. At
Salamat din po.
ano po ba ang inyong Facebook page or mga presence nyo sa social media? Pwede bang sabihin sa mga nanonood sa atin?
Well, in our social media, you go to Facebook and then just type BMSN Cebu. Makikita nyo na po yung Facebook page po namin. And then ang web page po namin, Father, is santoninobasilica.org. At saka, well, you can search it in Google, Father. Makikita mo naman yung aming web page. And then, of course, we have also our YouTube. Just also type Basilica Minore del Santo Niño de Cebu, and then you will find our YouTube. Wherein, constant po yung aming live streaming mass. Constant din po yung aming, lalong-lalo na ngayon, Father, na pandemic, and we are celebrating all throughout the novena days and the novena week. Lahat po ng misa namin are live until the fiesta.
Okay, no, so maraming salamat sa mga nanonood sa atin, and we hope na by 2022 ang mga kaibigan natin from all over the world ay makapunta rin dito sa Basilica Minore del Santo Nino para magkaroon sila ng idea and the experience of the Sinulog Festival, the Feast of the Senor Santo Nino.
Kahabit, Father Filmar,
Yes.
anong parte ng episode natin ngayon ang pinakatumatak sa iyo?
Ang pinaka-tumatak siguro sa akin ay yung the history of the Augustinians. Dahil nakita ko or narinig ko kay Father Rick, talagang mind-blowing ang contribution ng mga Augustinians in the Philippines. Kaya masasabi ko na kung gusto mong mag-aral o matuto ng history of the Philippines, kailangan ma-mention ang mga Augustinians. Sapagkat napaka-importante ng kanilang contribution sa educational, cultural, at religious formation ng mga Pilipino.
Wow.
Ikaw, ano naman ang masasabi mo tungkol sa mga Augustinians and the stories we heard today?
Siguro sa akin, Father Filmar, yung division ng Augustinians dito sa Pilipinas na meron na Mother Province, yung Vicariate of the Orient, of course, the province of Santo Nino de Cebu, kung saan belong po ako din because I am a part of the province of Santo Nino de Cebu. Napakalaking opportunity na maging bahagi ng Augustinians kasi dati parang pinangarap ko lang na makapunta dito sa Basilica.
Yeah.
Pero right now, andito na ako sa loob ng community na ito. So, parang napaka-blessed lang.
And we look forward na baka sa susunod nating pagkikita, 10 years pagkatapos nito, rector ka na dito.
Hindi natin alam, Father. So mga kahabits, where do you want us to go next para ma-feature on the spot? For comments or suggestions, i-message nyo kami via Facebook at facebook.com/amrsp.org. And while you're there sa aming page, like and follow na.
Also, support our live streams on the AMRSP Facebook page by sending us some stars. You can buy stars and send them to us during the live broadcast. For every star we receive, we earn $0.01. Kaya send me some love, send us some stars.
At Kahabits, don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel, AMRSP Media, where you can also catch our weekly broadcast, the Holy Rosary, and the Sunday Eucharist. Sama-sama tayo as we strive to reach 1,000 subscribers.
Mapapanood nyo na rin ang The Habits sa TV Maria Free Channel every Sunday nights at 8:30 p.m. with replays every Thursdays at 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. Kaya mga kahabits, let's stay connected.
Again, we wish to thank the Order of St. Augustine, Province of Santo Nino de Cebu, or commonly known as the Augustinians, for being with us here on the spot.
Next week, join us again as we explore consecrated life, the church, the world, and the society. This has been your kahabit, Father Felmar Fiel of the Society of the Divine Word.
Thank you very much for joining us in our weekly religious routine. This is your kahabit, Brother Reden Liken of the Order of St. Augustine, Province of Santo Nino de Cebu, Philippines, signing off from your weekly inspiration and information companion. We have been The Habits!